We have a lot of questions from customers, and one of them that came about is this regarding the minimum number of hours on the oil for the oil analyst to provide useful information. Wayne, can you elaborate on that for us?
Sure. A minimum number of hours we like to see as a minimum about 10 hours on your, right?
Okay.
So you run your engine for about 10 hours and then sample the oil and say it is. However, some people can't always do that. They're in a pre-buy situation or they're concerned about their last analysis, so they change their oil and then they want to quickly do another analysis. The difficulty there is that the fewer hours you get on the oil,
Okay.
the more difficult it becomes to extrapolate. Remember what we're doing. We're trying to identify abnormal wear in an engine, right? Abnormal wear, and then try to pinpoint where it might be in the engine. The fewer hours you have on the oil, the fewer wear metals that are going to get into the oil, which makes it more difficult for us to extrapolate that data out to identify abnormal wear, and then as importantly where it's coming from in the engine. So we've found that around 10 hours is a good enough time that allows us to accurately extrapolate that out and figure out that's going to be on their engine. Fewer hours than that, it's the same test, the same technology, and we can do some analysis with that. It just becomes more difficult.
We have another question that comes about quite frequently, and one of them is, I use AvLab for my airplane, and I'm very happy with the data. Do you offer a similar service for auto-redo engines?
First of all, it's nice of them to say that they like aviation attitude.
Yes.
That's good. Aviation Laboratories is an aviation homemade lab. What that means is that you just test aircraft, right? Rotors, fixed aircraft. It's the same technology if we want to test a car engine or a boat engine or industrial piece of equipment, a tractor. It's the same test. But what we found is that because our technicians are trained in just aviation related engines, our apparatus and our instrumentation is all tuned to the ranges that we'll find in just aviation. We find that not only does it give us a lot more technical expertise in aviation because we're focused on aviation, but it also allows us to tune our instrumentation so that they're much more accurate for that type of sample.
It's all about accuracy.
Well, you can imagine with a lawnmower, for example, or a tractor, right? A lawnmower, the engine oil gets very dirty. People don't change their oil very often. So there's all kinds of stuff in it, right? The instrumentation you use to test a lawnmower or a piece of mining equipment would have to be tuned to different ranges for that because the oil is has so many more different characteristics. With aviation, if we consistently do just aviation, our technicians are trained, our instruments tuned to those specific ranges, we get more accuracy out of the instruments, and we get more expertise in our analysis of that data.
Another question, Lane. Would an oil analysis show any corrosion forming from water in the engine?
We see corrosion often in the oil when we do the analysis, and it usually shows up as iron or perhaps elevated aluminum. So we see corrosion in elevated iron, elevated aluminum primarily. And it's interesting because if, for example, up north, the planes might sit during the winter and then they're flying them during the summer. So that first oil analysis after a winter, right, when the plane hasn't been run much, we typically will see elevated iron and then a little bit of elevated aluminum because some corrosion has formed over the wintertime. Even if you set it up as good as you possibly can, you're still going to see some corrosion in the form of iron and aluminum. So the answer is yes. We can see corrosion, but it's measurement of the wear mills directly as opposed to measuring water and then saying, well, if there's water in there, perhaps there's corrosion. What we're doing is saying, regardless of whether there's water or no water, a little water, a lot of water, if we see iron, we know that there's some corrosion likely occurring inside the engine.